What's up, fight fans on YouTube? 206 Analysis, the MMA writer for CollegeSports.com, here with UFC on Versus 5 predictions. Main card only. I'll start doing preliminaries in the near future, probably the beginning of 2012. So you guys have to be patient for undercard predictions. All right. Main card, first fight of the night is Amir Sadala versus Duane Ludwig. Amir Sadala, great grappler, very experienced Sambo fighter. He is ranked at, I don't really know how to tell ranks. He is ranked what they say is the first master of Sambo, which I don't know what that means. I know he's not the first master of Sambo, but I really don't know what that means. I'm not a big Sambo guy. Alright, now, and he's going against Duane Ludwig, a great striker. Duane Ludwig is now basically fighting for his job. He is 1-2, and he's going against a guy who has been in the UFC his whole career. So, who I think is going to win this fight, I'm going to say Amir Sadala via decision. I'll say a 29-28 decision, if not maybe a 30-27 or split decision. But I'm going with the 29-28 decision for Amir Sadala. All right, next fight: Charles Oliveira versus Donald Cerrone. Oliveira, great striker. You know, most of the wins have come by knockout. And Donald Cerrone, who is a great grappler and good striker. Donald Cerrone has had some tough fights. You know, 2 losses to Ben Henderson. So, you know, it's going to be tough for him to get into the title contention when, you know, some of the fighters in title contention have beaten you twice. But I'll go on later in the video. I'll explain another thing about the title contention. But right now is that Donald Cerrone is prime. He is 27 years old. He's really taking the UFC by storm. In this fight, I'll say that it's gonna go Donald Cerrone via his first round submission, due to the fact that Charles Oliveira isn't the most decent Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu grappler, even though he is from Sao Paulo. I think he's from Sao Paulo. 1 second, guys. I know he's from Brazil or something. I know he's from there or something. And you know, Brazilians are just top submission artists. Yeah, he's from Brazil. He is from Sao Paulo, Brazil. No, yeah, Sao Paulo, Brazil. And you know, he's not the biggest, submission artist. He is a good striker and submission artist. I know most of his wins has come by submission, but in this fight, it's going to be Donald Cerrone the whole time. So I go Donald Cerrone via first round submission. All right, next fight, title contention eliminator: Jim Miller versus Ben Henderson. Both fighters are coming off a win. Ben Henderson really is going to have to do something great to get Jim Miller out, because Jim Miller has been taking, again, he is another lightweight taking the UFC by storm. Jim Miller has won a lot of consecutive fights. I don't know exactly. Jim Miller is a great grappler. They're both great grapplers. Ben Anderson lost to Anthony Pettis, which I'm not saying he'll lose to him again, but you know, it's going to be tough for both of these guys, because if they continuously go on, they're going to be facing really tough lightweight contenders. The thing to know about Jim Miller is that Jim Miller, his only 2 losses have come to both the lightweight and the lightweight #1 contender. The lightweight champion Frankie Edgar and the #1 contender Gray Maynard. They both have beaten him. And if he has the next title shot, whoever wins the 3rd fight or the 4th fight, they're going to keep fighting, and if Frankie Edgar wins the next fight, then they're going to have a 4th fight. But if Jim Miller wins, he's going to have to really step up, because this is going to be a very tough fight for him. But in this fight, I'm going to go with Jim Miller by unanimous decision. They're both 2 great grapplers, and when you know you have 2 great grapplers, nothing happens. Not much stuff happens when they're great grapplers. It's going to be tough. So I say this might be a boring fight, and I'm going to say it's going to go by unanimous decision. Alright, main event, Dan Hardy versus Chris Lytle. Now, I'm already going to tell you my prediction. I'm going to go with the upset with Chris Lytle, mainly because is that Dan Hardy has been, really focusing on his wrestling background with Roy Nelson, who was 100 pounds who was 100 pounds more heavier than Dan Hardy. He's been working with his wrestling skills, offense and defense. But the thing is, with wrestling and grappling, you all have to know, if you're not a guy who does classes, it takes a very very long time to get something to be installed into your mind. It takes maybe 3-4 about 2 months to get it perfectly spot on. You might be an expert grappler like BJ Penn got everything spot on, but the thing is, jiu-jitsu, wrestling takes a very, very long time to get into your mind and to be where you know how to use it. So Dan Hardy, I think this will be his last fight in the UFC. I'm gonna go with the upset with Chris Lytle winning via decision. All right, that's all I gotta say. I think that's all I gotta say right now. So to go over it, I say Sadala by a decision, Cerrone by submission in first round, Jim Miller by decision, and Lytle via decision. Alright, this is a 206 analysis. Check out my Twitter, check out MMA Socialist, the Facebook of MMA in the description below. Check out calixsports.com. When my articles are put up, they'll be put up soon, possibly this week. So that's all I gotta say, and I'll see you guys later. Alright, peace.